What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CruitCast. I'm Jason Suchomel. There's Cole Patterson. You should probably know us by now, unless you're new. But back for Cole, probably a more interesting CruitCast than we anticipated. We've got a commitment to talk about. We've got games that you're going to be out at. We've got a huge recruiting weekend for Texas. So let's dive right in. We're going to just cut to the chase here. So that was last Friday around lunchtime, I think. I want to say I was like at Walmart or something, but Texas picks up a commitment from Clear Lake wide receiver Hunter Moddon, a 2024 prospect. We got to meet Hunter a little bit. We came up for one of the two pool parties Texas had in June or July. They kind of blend together at some point, but I don't think either of us really saw that one coming. Not that we didn't know Texas was a major player there, but I didn't think he was going to commit that early. But Hunter, he could talk to them or officially offer them and talk to them on September 1st. And it was like a couple days later, right, when he officially announced his commitment. So kind of your thoughts on how that all went down, how it came together quickly, and your thoughts on Hunter Moddon committing to Texas.
Yeah, like we knew he was obviously on the radar. I mean, like you said, he was at a pool party, he was on campus and everything like that. But you were at Walmart. I think Ben Golan, I think he tweeted out, and Ben Golan, who covers tech, texted me immediately the tweet. And I was like, oh, okay, I better get something whipped up real quick. So
Can I jump in? I'll admit he did the same for me, and I need to pay better attention when Ben texts me because he sent it to me, and I was like, whatever. I'll look at it when I get home. I got commitments. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I have to be, at home, kind of near laptop. So, I got a thread going, everything like that. I was scrambling to get some quotes. He was actually
did a great job on that, by the way. You were able to get a hold of Hunter quickly, and
he was in class. So I'm sure he was kind of weird timing for him to do it in class, and he said he's getting blown up. But he gave me a couple of good things, good quotes. But yeah, kind of I won't say out of nowhere, but because we knew he was on the radar, but it was kind of a weird timing. It was a Friday, like I said, in class. He had a game that night, but he said he just felt like it was time to go ahead and commit. It was right after the September 1st period opened up where, communication could be pretty open between he and the coaches. And it's pretty obvious that Brennan Marion really likes him. So he was like, I didn't really feel much of a need to keep waiting. And I know this is where I want to be. And he's got a pretty impressive offer sheet. Georgia offered him, Auburn's offered him, Oregon, I believe, has offered him. Ole Miss, I know, offered him pretty recently. So he's got a pretty good offer sheet, a really good offer sheet, I should say. I think LSU's also on there. So a big win for Texas. Becomes our third commitment in that class. Joining Jaden Allen and Aaron Hampton, two guys that could play either side of the ball in college. Jaden will probably play DB. I know Aaron wants to play receiver, but there's some versatility there. And even on Hunter Moddon's playing DB in high school, he had an interception on that Friday night game. So, yeah, pretty crazy. It was a slow day. It was the day before they played Louisiana Monroe, and sure enough, a commitment got everybody excited. So, a lot going on there.
Yeah. What it was I was picking up my daughter from school on Friday. That's what it was. So I'm sitting in a little pickup line. I'm like, I'll check that when I get home. And I was like, when I got home, I was like, oh, crap. In Hunter's, it's funny. You mentioned the other two commitments. I mean, they're all pretty versatile athletes. I mean, honestly, Hunter probably could be a DB at the next level. And that's not what Texas is recruiting him for. To be clear, they like him as a receiver. But, I did the instant analysis, or in this case, not so instant analysis after he committed. It was a good hour and a half or 2 hours after he committed before I had it posted. But, he recorded an 11.19 in the 100 meters. He ran a 22.09 in the 200 and long jump 23.4. So this is a guy with some explosive athleticism. I said he kind of reminds me of Joshua Moore a little bit, the former Texas receiver who was really good. I think Joshua Moore won state in either long jump or triple jump. So pretty explosive athlete who was a pretty good player for Texas off and on. He was in the doghouse a little bit here and there, but that kind of athleticism, that kind of athlete is, I think, what Texas is getting in Hunter Moddon. He's a guy that, I know Rivals, he's ranked as a 3-star prospect. Probably, I think he has a chance to climb if he puts up good numbers and has good junior and senior film. But like you said, a third pickup for the Texas in that 2024 class. Pretty interesting that all three of them can really play in a pinch. They could really play on either side of the ball for Texas. But Hunter Moddon, we fully expect to be a receiver. So.
Yeah, and those times, like you were saying, I believe those were either right after or right before his sophomore year of high school. So obviously he's got some track speed and everything like that. So obviously they want to add more explosiveness, speed, and versatility, and they've done that with all three of these guys. So good start to that class for sure.
Yeah. When you watch his film, and I did it after he committed, I watched his huddle highlights. It's almost like he has like weirdly an extra gear, like when the ball's in the air, like he really can separate.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, shit, the ball's, I got to really get going now. So like, I'd like to see him maybe use that extra gear right off the line and maybe not wait till he knows the ball's coming his way. It feels like he really just kicks it in, but he has no problem. And it's a high school level. I get it, but he has no problems getting separation downfield.
Return man too.
He is. Yeah. I mean, he's a versatile player, can do a little bit of everything. So let's transition, Colin, and he'll be in Austin this weekend, I believe, right?
Yeah. He said he'll be down there for the game. So
yeah. And in fact, all three of those 2024 commitments will be there. Big weekend for Texas. Obviously, got Alabama coming to town. Big recruiting weekend, man. I got a list. You and I have kind of been compiling it, and I'll go down a lot of these names. I'm not going to read them all. We've got probably 35 names on there. But the thing I want to start with, Cole, I want to talk about and preview the three official visitors that Texas has coming in. And we'll start with Jalen Hale, the wide receiver from Longview, and we could probably cover a whole CruitCast just talking about Jalen. Yeah. He was at Alabama last week for an official visit. He's obviously going to be at Texas this week for an official visit to watch them play Alabama. So that's a bit of a double-edged sword for Texas. Could cut either way. He is going to take an official visit to Texas A&M next weekend, and then a decision on September 21st. Kind of your vibe coming into this weekend, coming on the heels of that Alabama visit, coming into Austin this weekend, your vibe on Jalen Hale, the wide receiver out of Longview, Rivals 100 receiver out of Longview. Cole, your thoughts heading into the Texas visit?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that I still feel good about my prediction, and I think we both have future casting for Texas for him. But Alabama's definitely made it more interesting than we thought they would, at least back in the summer. He visited there at the end of July. He was back on campus last weekend. Seems like they've definitely made him a priority, and he's definitely listening to them, definitely listening to their pitch, and he likes their plan for him on and off the field. I saw him play week one when they played McKinney Boyd, and I said on the board it was one of the best performances I've seen from a wide receiver, and he's dominated that game. But afterwards, he was talking about his finalists. That's when he told me about the A&M visit. But he spoke highly of Texas and his relationship with Arch and Jonte and all of that. But he also mentioned Alabama and their plan for him. Obviously on the field, they have a track record of sending guys to the NFL, and so their academic success and all the things that they have on that space really caught his interest as well. So yeah, they've definitely made a big challenge for Texas. I would say at least a bigger challenge we thought it would be initially. So Texas this weekend gives him a big deal or a big opportunity to seal the deal there. He'll be seeing Alabama again 2 weeks back to back, but I think he's intrigued about playing with Arch Manning in that offense. He mentioned to me he wants to see how receivers are used when he's at the Alabama game, the Texas game, and he's planning to visit the A&M game. I'm still interested to see if that happens, but assuming that does, he wants to see how they use their receivers as well. That's a big thing in his recruitment. But yes, it looks like it's coming down to Texas and Alabama, and the two teams are playing this weekend. So getting him back on campus and kind of around other commits and other targets will be big.
Yeah, I'm not discounting A&M in this one, though. We said it, I think it was on the CruitCast last week, Cole. We kind of said Jalen's a guy who changes pretty quickly sometimes, right? We both, I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just, it's typical recruiting, and emotions get high on visits and things of that nature. So, I'm not discounting A&M by any means. I do think they're probably running third in this race. And we kind of knew going into that Alabama visit, like, man, you can never discount Alabama, right? I don't care who they're recruiting if they're going to prioritize a guy. So to hear that Alabama maybe picked up some steam, maybe gained some momentum coming out of that visit isn't really a surprise. I mean, you'd kind of almost expect it. I in talking to some Alabama people this weekend, I guess maybe Sunday, I believe it was Sunday night, we were just kind of bouncing ideas and picking brains, and here's what I've heard, here's what you've heard. There's some confidence on the side of Alabama, quite a bit of confidence. One person told me they thought maybe Alabama was the team to beat coming out of that trip just because the multiple trips there. Like you said, Alabama's done a really good job just showing him how he would be used. and did a good job of impressing both of his parents. So I think Texas, I kind of said, hey, man, Alabama punched. Now Texas has to counter punch this weekend. I think they'll do a good job of that. I still have my future cast on Texas, but I do think it's, like you said, a lot closer race than maybe we envisioned it would be. And I think Texas has to recruit the whole family. I think they got to do a good job this weekend, getting mom and dad on board. That'll certainly help the Longhorns' cause. So pivotal weekend for Texas with Jalen Hale. And I tell you what, it'd be nice if you're a Texas fan if Arch Manning or Jonte Cook could be there, but neither one of those guys are going to be in town this weekend. So you'll have a lot of other committed guys. We'll get to some of those guys in a little bit, but the two big guys that he's bonded with will not be in Austin for that Alabama game. So just something to think about for this weekend. One of the other official visitors, Cole, we got three total, two more, is Deuce Robinson, the number one ranked tight end, in the country out of Phoenix Pinnacle High School. He'll be in this weekend. Deuce is an interesting dude, man. He's a tremendous baseball player, so baseball is going to be a factor. He wants to play both in college, and he is that type of good enough baseball player that he can do both. He doesn't really say much. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't tip his hand when he does talk. I've never talked to the kid. I've reached out to him numerous times, and I've never been able to get a response, but I've seen some videos. Our old Orange Bloods coworker, Dustin McComas, actually talked to him at a baseball tournament not too long ago. And he's just a pretty intelligent, even-keel kid that's hard to read. All the early signs had been USC, USC, USC. I still think that's the case. I haven't heard anything to make me feel differently. But in talking to some West Coast people, they think, hey, Texas might be the biggest threat to USC. Texas already has 2 tight end commitments. Not necessarily a big need, but listen, man, you're not going to turn down a guy like Deuce Robinson if you can get him in. So, I don't know how much you've followed or dug around on Deuce Robinson. I'm going to try to do some more of that late this week. But, just your thoughts on getting a guy of that caliber, number 1 tight end in the country, getting that guy on campus for an official visit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting him in town is pretty big. Rivals, national analyst, Adam Gorney, he kind of has a little bit of insight in that recruitment. He knows they're pretty close. Deuce and Arch Manning are pretty close. So, there's the attraction there. I think he even openly said that Arch Manning going to Texas caught his attention. So, I mean, Texas does have a chance there. And he, like you said, they do have 2 commitments, Will Randall and Spencer Shannon. But Deuce Robinson is kind of that best available player category. You kind of have to take him if he wants to come and give it Sarkisian another offensive weapon in this class. It already has a bunch of offensive weapons. Too good of a talent to turn down there. But, yeah, I mean, he's made multiple visits to USC. I believe he's pretty close to Malachi Nelson as well. And there's some attraction staying out on the West Coast. But we'll see if Texas can make a move there. Obviously, if he's using one of his official visits to Texas, that says a lot there. So, like I said, we'll be digging around and see if Texas can make some progress in that recruitment.
Yeah, and Texas has had some success in the state of Arizona. Obviously, Bijan Robinson. I mean, going back to didn't work out, but Jake Smith and so they've had success there. And one of my favorite places in the world, Phoenix, Arizona. I love that area. So, hey, come on, Deuce, commit to Texas, and so I can have an excuse to come out to Phoenix.
Vacation out there.
Yeah, man. I'll spend a few days in the Phoenix, greater Phoenix area. So, the last official visitor, Cole, is a linebacker. We've talked about him before, but Tausili Akana, the linebacker out of Utah, Lehigh, Utah. I'm not exactly sure where that is, to be honest with you. Maybe it's close to Salt Lake City, another place I love. So, hey, man, you need to get all these dudes on board. So you can cover all the Dallas area guys and East Texas.
For sure.
I'll do Utah.
Yeah,
anything that's close to the mountains, I got it, brother. That's me. Mountains or beach, I'm calling dibs. But Akana, another guy who's pretty quiet. His sister, used to live in Hawaii, played Pop Warner football with Texas commitment, and I'm going to forget his name, butcher his name, another kid from Hawaii, but now lives in Utah. His sister is a former Nebraska volleyball player, now transferred to Texas, like Leona LaFau. Thank you. I was drawing a blank on Leona LaFau. So Leona knows him a little bit. I've talked to Leona about it, and he goes, yeah, we talk, he and Tausili talk, but he goes, we don't really talk about recruiting a lot. It's more just, hey, how you doing, checking in. So maybe after this visit, maybe they'll talk a little bit more. But Texas has a bit of an ace up its sleeve with his sister being on the volleyball team. He's still going to visit, I think, Oklahoma. I think maybe LSU, maybe even A&M's in the picture there. So he's pretty open, I think. Again, he doesn't tip his hand, but be a great edge player for Texas. He's a guy that this staff really, really likes, would fill a need for this class. So, we'll see if they can. I don't expect any big fireworks to come out of this weekend for any of these three guys, but maybe Texas can put itself in a good position like we talked about with Deuce Robinson. Hey, maybe they can put themselves in a good position for Tausili Akana, and then you just got to withstand some of these other visits.
Yeah, for sure. Just getting on the campus, kind of like Deuce Robinson's big, and connection with his sister is another good selling point that Texas has in their back pocket. And they do have some connections out to that West Coast area and Utah and everything like that, so they can kind of sell that and pitch him on coming here. He's a Rivals 100 prospect, a position that would obviously help Texas pretty greatly as well. So I fully expect them to obviously lay out the red carpet. We'll see how much progress they can make there, if they can make a move in its recruitment. But the connection to LaFau and his sister being on campus, those two kind of underrated aspects that Texas has that I imagine not many other programs can really match there. So big for Texas to get him on campus, get him around, Deuce Robinson, get him around Jalen Hale, and just all the other visitors that we've confirmed that will be in town. It's getting around. College game day is going to be there. It's pretty big deal for an official visit, just have that atmosphere and environment. So obviously, huge opportunity for Texas to really make a move and some pretty important recruitments.
Yeah, so big weekend, Cole, getting those official visitors in. A lot of committed guys. Again, I got a list of them. So the Texas commits that have confirmed with us that'll be in: Ryan Niblett, Jaden Chapman, Connor Strode, Trevor Gooseby, Andre Kojo, all the linemen, two linebackers, Samaje Burrell, Darian Gillette. A lot of guys are playing on Saturday, South Oak Cliff in Duncanville, DeSoto. So that's four guys right there that won't be able to make it in, but a good number of commitments will be there. Mikael Harrison Pilot will be there. The standout 2023 receiver, Micah Hudson's probably going to be there. 5-star receiver in the 2024 class. I mean, Derek McFall, the running back, James Peoples, all these guys have offers. Parker Livingstone, receiver. Torrey Blaylock told me this morning he'll be there. Ori Williams, a big offensive lineman out of San Marcos. Daniel Cruz, a guy that I really like, he'll be there. Nigel Smith, a guy from Melissa, big defensive end out of Melissa, he'll be there. Landon Rink, David Kabongo, Corian Gibson, Kadavian Dotson. Marcus Deal told me he's probably going to be there. He's a big 2023 defensive tackle, which recruiting fans probably know about. So take your pick, Cole. I don't know who you want to talk about. Man, we don't need to go through every one of them, but a lot of guys coming in. Texas really has a chance to make a big impression on some of these 2023 guys like a Marcus Deal, but maybe as importantly, really establish some momentum with some of those 2024s and even the 2025s that are already on the staff's radar.
Yeah, for sure. I'll touch on some guys I'm actually going to go see this weekend, Thursday and Friday. You mentioned Marcus Deal. He's one of the bigger targets for Texas on that board. Set to go see him play on Thursday night. His name and Forest team plays Rowlett in a game out in Garland. I'll be there. And like you said, you reached out to him. He told you he'll probably be in Austin on Saturday. It probably helps that, he's playing a Thursday night game, so he doesn't really have to worry about playing Friday night, getting up really early, or, playing Saturday night. So the schedule kind of lines up for Texas there. But yeah, just getting him on campus. He was on campus back in July, getting him back on campus, and this time for a game environment, it's going to be big. Every time I've talked to him, he mentions Bo Davis. There's a relationship there. And, as good as he is at D-line, he could probably be a really even better offensive lineman. So, they are recruiting him to play D-line. That's where he wants to play. But regardless, he's really got on either side of the ball and be a big get wherever you can get him. I know Georgia and TCU are two other teams involved there. So just getting him on campus and, around the coaches can be pretty important. And then
he's got real quick. He does have a Georgia official visit. He told me about a month ago he's trying to decide between Texas and Oklahoma for his last official visit. That probably won't be until after the season. And before you transition, and I know where you're going after this, but I really like Marcus. I went back and watched his video last week or something, and I think he's a guy that's kind of flying under the radar in terms of people talking about him stuff. You mentioned, first off, he could be a fantastic offensive lineman. But even as a defensive tackle, man, I mean, that guy moves really well. I mean, he just does everything well. His dad's a coach. So, but really probably a better athlete, I think, than people understand or people realize. I really like, the more I went back and looked, I was like, damn, I've forgotten how much I like Marcus Deal. I'm glad I went back and looked at his film again. So getting him in town for this visit and then possibly for an official visit is a big development for Texas. So big weekend there. I'll let you pick back up, Cole. I know you got a big game on Friday and then on Saturday you're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. On Deal, real quick, obviously he can play D-line. He has really good size. Got to see him play last year during the season. So excited to see him again. We'll see if Texas can make some progress and kind of close that last official visit in for him. If they can do that, that'll be obviously really big. But yeah, Friday night I'll be seeing, 5-star wide receiver Michael Hudson. He's playing. His Lake Belton team's playing up at Red Oak on Friday night. Red Oak has a safety that Texas just offered, Warren Robertson, who obviously is a big target now. And they just threw an offer on Labor Day, so that matchup's gonna be really interesting. But Micah Hudson, I think we talked about it last week on the show. He's drawn comparisons to Garrett Wilson. A lot of people seem to think he's the best wide receiver in the state of Texas, regardless of class. He's a strong argument to be that number one receiver in the nation in 2024. So huge if Texas can get him on campus. It sounds like he will be, but Friday night game up in Dallas, we'll see if he does make it to campus. But signs are pointing to him being at the game. And, he was out on campus. I believe that was in June. He said that was his first time on the 40 acres. They have that receiver coaching change, Brandon Marion coming in. So just getting him on campus and around the coaches, around the players, see what the game environment's like. It's going to be really important for Texas. And, personally, and, kind of selfishly excited to see him play. I know you did. I believe that was week 1. You already saw him play. So, I'll get that opportunity. But yeah, just getting him on campus, that's arguably the top player in the state of Texas. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. You mentioned that loaded 24 class. There's going to be Kadavian Dotson's going to be there. Texas is pretty high on Corian Gibson. There's so much talent down on the 2025 class. Devon Mitchell, he's going to have an argument as one of the best players in the nation for 2025. Elite tight end out of Allen. Just so much ground that Texas can really, set a really big foundation on. So, huge weekend. We got you covered at Orange Bloods.
And then you'll be Saturday, not last, but certainly not least, DeSoto, South Oak Cliff. So you'll have, I mentioned 4 commitments, Texas commitments playing in that game, talent across the board. So you'll be, once again, get some great games this weekend.
Cook versus Malik Muhammad. Alabama and Texas is getting college game day, but that matchup might be even better, more exciting. You might have to get your popcorn ready for that. So they won't be
on television.
I don't know. I think it might. I think WFFA is actually going to have a YouTube live stream.
I was about to say, I might have to find a live stream. If not,
you're definitely going to check that out. That's going to be, worth the price of admission right there. So they won't be in Austin, but that'll be, a hell of a matchup in their own right.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the wide receiver cornerback matchup. You got Billy Walton trying to chase down Trey Wisner. Too. So I mean, some really good
out there.
Yeah. Texas on Texas matchups there. But so big weekend coming up, Cole. Our plan, we talked about this before we started recording. Today's Wednesday as we record this. We're going to try to record probably Monday. Who knows? Maybe even Sunday if things fall into place on Sunday. But definitely we'll have a lot to talk about coming out of the weekend. So we'll probably record a video Sunday, maybe Monday at the latest. So with that, Cole, I've got a lot of stuff to get to writing for the War Room and for game matchup for this weekend and recruiting calls to make and previewing this big weekend for Orange Blood. So lots going on. I want to urge everybody, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, get your Prime Shrimp. We didn't mention it. Prime Shrimp promo code Orange Bloods for $20 off your first order. And then also, hey, we've got a promo on Orange Bloods. Blake can put that up. Promo code Tide Takedown. Promo code Tide Takedown. Right now, sign up, buy 1 month, $9, whatever it is, and get 2 months free. So that takes you through the whole season pretty much. So for the price of 1 month, check Orange Bloods out for 3 months. For the price of 1 month, it gets you through the season. It'll get you, actually right up almost to that early signing window. I promise you, if you check it out, you're going to want to stick around past that 3 months. But you can try 3 months for the price of 1 with that promo code Tide Takedown. If you can't remember that, just go to orangebloods.com. It's up there on our homepage in a big banner that will help you get signed up. So with that, I want to thank our producer, Blake, Cole, I want to thank you for your time, buddy. I know you got a busy weekend ahead of you.
Yeah.
So do I. So we'll be back, like I said, Sunday or Monday with another CruitCast. Probably have a lot to talk about, but I appreciate everybody giving us some of their time this week. And everybody, thank you for watching. Take care.